Hi sweeties, welcome back to the channel. I am wearing a cozy sweater and drinking some nice warm tea because this video is a bit hard for me to film, but I want this cozy vibe. I want to feel like I'm talking to my friends because I consider y'all my friends. So a few weeks ago, me and my wife posted a video talking about how we've had an open marriage for a while, and in that video I've mentioned that I've been exploring my sexuality, and that has been a huge surprise for me, and actually something that has been quite difficult mentally, and that I wasn't really ready to talk about it because I was still figuring things out. So since then, people have been so curious and asking me so many questions about it, and asking me to post a video just talking about that. So this is what I'm gonna do today. And to be completely honest, I would feel much more comfortable making this video if I got to a point where I had a proper label for myself, but I'm not there yet, and in some ways feeling kind of pressured because people keep asking about it. But at the same time, I have made my sexuality such a huge part of my social media presence, so I do understand why people would be curious. And I wasn't really sure whether to make a video about this or not, because I can see how I have really overshared my personal stuff online, and that's not always a good thing for me personally. Like, it's great for the channel and everything, and people enjoy it, but for me on a personal level is not always healthy for my relationships and for my mental health and everything. But I was just having a lovely conversation with one of my friends who just recently went through a similar thing that I am going through, and she said that once she opened up about it with her loved ones, she felt so much better and she was able to let go of all that internalized shame, which is what I've been feeling. So I thought, you know what, people are asking for it, and I might feel better if I talk about it. So yeah, I am gonna talk about my journey and where I'm at with my sexuality and how confused I am and everything. Yeah, isn't it, Beverly? It's much easier being a dog, isn't it? Beautiful. Oh, I love you so much. Anyway, before we get started, please subscribe and activate the notifications so you know when I post new videos. Also follow me on Instagram and TikTok for daily vlogs, and give us a thumbs up because it really helps the channel. By the way, I am having black tea with a non-alcoholic Irish creamer. Anyway, when I was growing up, I was never into boys. From a really young age, you know, when girls would have cute little childhood crushes on boys and laugh about it and, you know, have cute conversations about it, I never understood. I could never relate. And I was always very close to my female friends. And as I got older in my teen years, I realized I was actually attracted to women. I tried to have a boyfriend when I was 16 to 17, and it was atrocious. It was pretty much platonic anyway, but I did not like it, and I came out and had my first girlfriend when I was 17. I mean, I came out to my friends and family at that time, but I made my official YouTube coming out video about 8 or 7 years ago. It was quite a long time ago. I was actually watching that earlier today, and I look like such a baby, and I even sound different. It's adorable. Hi sweeties! I've been wanting to post this video for months, but honestly I've been quite scared to post it because even though I've been openly gay for years, if you post something so personal like this on the internet, it means that potentially everybody you know can find out. I was scared that people would see me differently, my subscribers and people that I know in real life that watch my videos. But I changed my mind and decided to film it because I realized that there are over 20,000 people subscribed to this channel, and at least one of you is going through a struggle or being discriminated for being gay and could really do with a video with advice from someone that's been through that already. So that's why I decided to share my coming out story with you. And since coming out and having my first girlfriend when I was 17, I have only been with women, only ever attracted to women. I've had multiple girlfriends before I met my wife, Eileen, and if you're an OG subscriber, you've probably seen videos of me with multiple girlfriends. Not at the same time, you know, as the years went on. I've only ever been attracted to women, and to this day, you know, if I see a beautiful man walking past or on TV or anything, doesn't do anything to me. And when I see a beautiful woman, you know, I'm attracted to her. And you know, from a very young age, all my celebrity crushes have always been women. Apart from Michael Jackson, I've mentioned that before. I did find Michael Jackson really pretty when he had long hair and looked really weird. And every time I say that to friends, they're like, yeah, when he looked like a woman. Anyway, all that to say, I've always been very, very gay. So this came as a huge, huge, huge surprise, and I'm still a little bit confused about why it came about. It all started when me and my wife opened our marriage. I was in a very, very dark and vulnerable place at that time. If you have seen the video I posted, I think a couple of weeks ago, about our marital problems, you will probably understand where my mind was at. I was pretty traumatized and going through a lot of mental health difficulties. Like, I literally felt like I was losing my mind. Like, I was extremely depressed, and I was needing like so much comfort and love. And at that time I got a little closer with a male friend who was already a really, really good friend, but we got a bit closer because he gave me so much support going through all that. Like, he was so patient, and he looked after me and cooked for me, made me tea, you know, and really made me feel cared for and loved. And that was something I hadn't felt in such a long time. And I ended up having an experience with him, and it was beautiful. And it completely shocked me because I did not see that coming in a million years. Like, I never felt attracted to a man before, but I did to him. And he's such a lovely, gentle, caring person that just, you know, held me and made me feel so loved and understood and listened to me. And it was just a really beautiful experience. But at the same time, it confused the heck out of me. Like, I still, to this day, I don't look at men in that way. Even if a gorgeous, gorgeous man walks past me, I'm like, you know, he looks nice, good for him, but it doesn't do anything to me. But I am attracted to this one person, and I don't understand. And I mean, I'm 29, going on 30, so it really messed with my mind because it made me feel like, wow, I'm too old. I'm way too old to be getting confused about my sexuality now at this stage of my life. But then I had this conversation with a friend who's in her 40s, and she's going through it now. And I said that to her, and she said, oh my god, no, you're never too old to find out new things about yourself. And sexuality is fluid. It's not fluid for everybody, but you know, it is for me and it is for her. And she said, there is no shame. You don't need to feel ashamed, because I did. Like, when it first happened, I was like, oh my god, what is wrong with me? Like, I never want anybody to know. I felt so much internalized shame because it was such a huge change for me, and it made me feel very unstable. Like, what is going on? I was so certain about who I was for so long. Like, I haven't told a lot of people, but I told my mom and a few close friends, and obviously my wife, and they were all like slightly worried because I've always been so gay, and they were like, are you okay? So that has been very confusing for me. So like, in one hand, I'm like, am I just a full-fledged lesbian who is going through a mental breakdown? I don't know, maybe, but at the same time, it was such a beautiful experience. It didn't feel like I was like punishing myself or, you know, doing something bad. And then I thought, am I bisexual? But I don't feel very bisexual, because when I hear bisexual people speak about their experience, you know, they talk about, oh wow, look at that beautiful man, and look at that beautiful women, and look at that gorgeous couple. And that's not how I feel at all. It's just this one person that like is so lovely and really touched my heart. So I don't feel like I identify with the bisexual label much. I identify much more with being a lesbian than with being bisexual. But then there are also people who say bisexuality doesn't have to be 50-50. You can like women 99.999% of the time and still be bisexual. And that makes sense. But anyway, I don't know, I don't really feel like that's me. And pansexual also doesn't feel right, because it's like, I love people regardless of their gender, and for me, I do love women a lot, like specifically. So I thought that maybe I am just a lesbian who is a little more fluid than I thought I was, and that's what I said on my previous video about the open relationship. But then at the same time, is it fair for me to call myself a lesbian when I had an experience with a man and I enjoyed it? I don't know if that's fair. A few people brought that up to me when I went on the Jubilee lesbian debate. A few people said, oh, you said you're fluid now and you're exploring your sexuality, so you can't really call yourself a lesbian. And that was actually really painful to me, because I've always been really into the lesbian community and it's a huge part of my life, and I feel a great sense of community really with the lesbian community. How many times did I say community? So that made me quite upset, but also I can see how that could be offensive to people. So I'm like, what do I even call myself at this point? And I'm still figuring things out. You know, I only just started to heal from everything that happened to me. For the last 2 years, I've been on a downward spiral. Like, I've taken heavy drugs that I've never taken before. I've been like, you know, self-harming. I've been starving myself. I've been breaking my own stuff. You know, I've done some crazy shit. I've been compulsively traveling to run away from my problems. I've been binging in bed, and I've been on this downward spiral up until recently. And I think the turning point was a few weeks ago when I made that video opening up about our marital problems. That's when I started feeling better for the first time, because I finally got that off my chest, because there was such a heavy burden on me. And also I started my medication, I think it was a couple of months ago. I'm on antidepressants now, and that has been super, super helpful. So I feel like I'm finally coming out of that hole. My dog is up to something. So I'm finally healing, so I feel like it's too early for me to give myself a label and know exactly where I'm at with that, because I'm still figuring out other things that are actually more important to me, like my mental health stuff. It's more important than figuring out like a label. All I know is that I freaking love women. I'll always love women. And I also had a beautiful experience with this wonderful person who has been so lovely to me, and who is a big part of my life now. So, Beverly, what's your gender identity? No, that's not even what we're talking about. What's your sexual orientation? So, for the time being, while I'm figuring my shit out, I'm just gonna call myself queer, because queer is an umbrella term for everything not straight. And that's pretty accurate. And I also feel comfortable with this label, because I've always called myself queer. I've always called myself like lesbian, queer, and gay interchangeably. I've always said cheers queers and all that. So yeah, I'm queer. So that's what I'm going by nowadays, but feel free to call me anything if you want to call me a lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, and whatever makes you happy. I'm not too bothered at this point. To be honest, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I wouldn't bother to give it a name, but I feel like I have to, because I talk about my sexuality so much. So yeah, I'm queer, leaning very heavily towards pussy. Beverly, cover your ears. And I'm sure some of you must be worried about my wife, Eileen, and must be wondering what she thinks about him. She was, like everybody else that I told, very, very, very surprised. Well, I think she was more surprised than anybody else, because, you know, she's my wife. She has been intimate with me, and she knows how much I love women. Especially because I'm verse, but I'm more like of a top, really. So she was pretty shocked, but also very understanding. A lot of people, when we came out about having an open marriage, a lot of people said, oh my god, Eileen looks so upset about it and stuff, but you don't know, you don't know what she's like. She is so open-minded and so not jealous. She's never been jealous of me. If anything, I've been much more jealous than she has about things like that. So yeah, she's okay. It was a bit of a shock, but she's actually really good friends with this person now. We're actually gonna have a lovely Christmas dinner all together. Yeah, I know it's weird, right? It is weird, but yeah, they get on great. I feel like I still have a lot of internalized shame about it, but I definitely feel lighter after saying it out loud to y'all, and I think I'll feel even lighter once I actually post this video. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I hope you still love me. Like, I hope you understand where I'm at in my journey with my sexuality. I hope you're not disappointed. I personally, in the past, when I've watched lesbians and they ended up being with men, or, you know, realizing that they weren't full lesbians, I was always like a bit, not disappointed, but secretly a little sad because I couldn't identify with them as much anymore. And I hope I don't make you feel like that, and I'm sorry if I do, but I hope other people who are also going through similar things can identify with me. Beverly still does. She doesn't even know what that means. Do you, Beverly? Alright, thank you so much for listening. I love you so much. Thank you very, very much about all your love and support and understanding. And for sticking around for so many years. I've been on this channel for like 10 years or something. Like, my coming out video was 7 years ago. Look, I was a baby and you've been here all along, so thank you very much. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for watching and have a very, very lovely day. Mwah! And cheers, queers!